A couple days ago, we talked about one of the most dangerous woodworking trick videos I have ever seen on YouTube. I explained in detail the numerous mistakes being made here and why I think it was irresponsible to post this as a woodworking trick with no context about the dangers. Now, I'm not back here today to pile on. Instead, I'm here to offer a safer alternative. Normally, when somebody says, "How do I cut a raised panel on the table saw?" I say you don't. You use a router table. I think that's both safer and faster. But I don't know that the guy in that video, whom I believe to be working in a Vietnamese factory, has the option of using a router table, and maybe you don't either. All I know is he had a table saw, so that's the challenge I'm here to meet. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it safer, more efficiently, and with better results than he was getting. You'll find this lesson invaluable because eventually every woodworker needs to make a raised panel. What you learn here will give you the confidence you need to do the job. First, we have to make a homemade jig. The size isn't critical. Just use whatever scraps you have on hand. I made mine medium-sized, and I started with a 16 by 16 panel. On the bottom edge, I'm nailing an 1.5 inch wide strip of 1/8 inch plywood. Now I'm standing it against my table saw fence, and I'm laying a scrap of wood on top of the fence just as a spacer. On top of that, I have another piece that's the width of the fence plus the thickness of the plywood that I'm using to build the jig. I'm clamping the tall panel in place so I can shoot some nails through it and into the edge of the piece on top. Then I can pull out my spacer. Now I'm slipping a third piece that's as tall as the fence, maybe even slightly taller, beneath the piece I just attached. I'm using some paper shim so I can clamp the whole thing to the fence as I secure it with nails so the results won't be too tight on the fence. However, before you drive those nails, you might want to check to be sure that your main panel is plumb with the top of the saw. You'll need something to lift the square up above that 1/8 inch strip of plywood to do it. But if the panel isn't perpendicular to the saw top, just adjust the width of that final piece that you were putting in place. I usually like to cut it a bit too wide on purpose. Then I can trim it down a little bit at a time until the fit is perfect and the jig is plumb. Now once it's nailed in place, attach some wood triangles on the back to serve as some brackets to keep everything square and make it more rigid. Finally, a narrow strip of wood attaches to the back edge. This is a fence to hold your panel and it has to be plumb as well. I recommend avoiding the bottom inch or two because the very first time you use this jig, you're probably going to cut a little bit off this 1/8 inch strip on the bottom and a little bit off the fence that you just nailed onto the back. And you don't want any nails there to hit your saw blade. That's it, the jig is done. Now let's make our raised panels. I'm using a rip blade with a flat grind so that I'll get a nice square bottomed cut. I'll link to the one I prefer down below this video, both in the video description and pinned to the top of the comments. I've raised my saw blade 1/8 inch above the table, and I've set my fence to my preferred bevel width. 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches is common for small and medium-sized panels, but you can go wider if it's going to be a very large panel. I'll be using a miter gauge to guide my workpiece for most of these cuts so it's not going to twist, and a push block to apply downward pressure without placing my hand directly over the blade. Now it's perfectly safe to use the miter gauge and the rip fence together in this case because no loose offcut is being produced. You couldn't use these two safely together if you were cutting all the way through a board and creating a loose piece that may get caught between the blade and the rip fence and potentially kick back at you. The miter gauge is also really only necessary in this case for the cuts along the narrow ends of the panels. The long edges can be guided through just along the rip fence by hand because the workpiece is unlikely to rotate out of position when you're making these longer edged cuts. After I finish my 4 scoring cuts on each of the raised panels I intend to make, it's time to set up the jig. First, I have to determine the angle of my bevel. Now you typically want the edge of the panel reduced down to about 1/4 inch depending on the width of the slot that'll be in your frame. That means that the bevel must connect that point at 1/4 inch to the bottom of one of the grooves that you just scored in the board's face, and you're going to remove all of the waste above it. I use a bevel gauge to transfer that angle from the workpiece to the table saw. Now I place my jig over the rip fence, then I sight by eye down one of the grooves to set my fence position and blade height. Note how the darker tooth emerges in the distance at the end of that blurry groove. The top of the tooth doesn't have to be all the way to the top of the groove. In fact, you might want to leave a little bit of space. But the side of the tooth, on the right in this case, should just touch the inner lower corner of the groove. Now I'm installing a featherboard stack. I'm using the Bow Feather Duo. It's essentially 2 featherboards with a spacer in the middle. Now while any raised featherboard will work, even a homemade one if you have a really tight budget, I've switched to Bow featherboards because their unique features make them among the safest on the market in my opinion. I'll put a link to them below this video as well. Notice how I've turned the lower featherboard backward. This creates an opening beneath the upper featherboard where the strips of waste that I'm going to be cutting off my panel can't get caught. The upper featherboard is set to apply a bit of pressure against my panel as it sits against the jig. Note how the featherboard's height positions it above the saw blade. You would never want to place a featherboard where it would put pressure directly against the side of the saw blade. But in this case, it's raised above the cut. So no pressure is applied where it may force the wood to pinch against the saw blade, which again could cause a kickback. This unique featherboard setup will not only hold the workpiece against the jig during the cut, so no clamps are necessary, but it also serves as a blade guard to protect your fingers from the blade. You'll see this as I make my first cut. The panel is placed on the jig against that vertical fence at the rear, and the whole thing is advanced into the blade. My hand keeps it steady at the beginning, but the featherboard soon takes over. Notice how I can't accidentally slip my fingers too low where they may be cut by the blade. A featherboard setup like this is absolutely key to doing this safely. I always like to cut the top and bottom bevels first because those are against the grain and they may cause a little bit of chip out on the corner. Then when I cut my 2 longer edges, which go with the grain and can't cause chip out, anything that was damaged on those end grain cuts will be cleaned up. I also like to check to make sure my fence is properly set after my first cut. Notice how there's a little shoulder remaining next to my slot. If I move the fence a little bit closer to the blade, I can eliminate that. Just be careful that your blade isn't too high or it may cut into the raised center of the panel. In fact, if you move your jig closer to the blade, you might want to also lower your blade just a little bit. Once everything is dialed in, you can quickly cut panel after panel, quickly and easily without fiddling with clamps and without risking your fingers. And the end results are nearly flawless right off the saw. You may need some light hand sanding just to clean up any blade marks, but you're not going to have to use an angle grinder to sand away your mistakes like this guy did. I've made videos in the past about making the frames that go around panels for cabinet doors and furniture. I'll put a couple links to those below the video as well. Just look for those links in the description and pinned to the top of the comments. Now check this out. Woodworking is about squares. Fences must be square, blades must be square, tables must be adjusted so cuts are made square. Our corners must be square, our edges must be square. Even angles are sometimes laid out with a square. We use double squares and combo squares and tri-squares and T-squares, mini squares and miter squares to combine pieces to make squares. If you need squares to make squares, there are no better squares than these squares, because Bridge City makes neat squares so everything can be square. Visit Bridge City Tools at the link below this video and see for yourself.